Everyone to another installment of the JL Thompson YouTube channel. Delighted that you could join us on what was a very packed and exciting sports weekend, and we'll start with the Yankees, of course. They took 2 out of 3 from Boston, but it was not what they were hoping for, as Tampa did lose yesterday, so they could have gained a game there. And the trouble spot also, Minnesota has jumped over them for the first round series best 2 out of 3 game, which is not going to be good because, even though there's no fans in the stands, in a time like this, you don't want to be traveling. And if you can bat last as the home team, I think that's a huge, huge advantage. And the Yankees had a chance yesterday to really affect the outcome of what their playoff run might look like, and they did not take advantage of it. They will start a critical 4 game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And the reason I say critical is because it's going to impact the seeding very much. If you look at the way the seeds are right now, if the season ended today, Toronto would play Tampa Bay in the best 2 out of 3 series. But there are a lot of teams nipping at the heels of Toronto, as they just came off of a very bad stretch, 3-7 in their last 10, compared to the Yankees, who were 9-1. But the postseason shapes up like this. All of these teams in first place in their respective divisions. Tampa at 35-19, Chicago at 34-19, and Oakland at 33-20. All these respective teams in second in their division. Minnesota 33-22. The Yankees, of course, 31-22. The Houston Astros 27-26. The Cleveland Indians would be the first wild card team at 29-24. And the second wild card team is the aforementioned Toronto Blue Jays. The Seattle Mariners are nipping at Toronto's heels. Toronto has 27 wins against 26 losses, whereas Seattle has 23 losses against 30. And Seattle finally back home after all those air quality issues they were having in Seattle throughout the past couple of weeks. A lot of things happened, of course. We had the Thursday night NFL, which featured a show of the future of the NFL, what it might look like. Cleveland was victorious over Cincinnati in that game. But I think more interesting was the quarterback matchup, Joe Burrow versus Baker Mayfield. And of course, as you know, the New York Giants, tough loss against Chicago, but even tougher than that is the loss of their star running back out of Penn State, Saquon Barkley, who has a torn ACL. And that is most certainly going to impact him for the rest of the season on a go-forward basis. As far as the Jets are concerned, look, losing to the 49ers, that's inexcusable. You got a team that's playing on the East Coast. That's a West Coast team that's playing a 1 o'clock game, and you can't even muster up a victory on your home opener. I know there's no crowd, but it leads me to question, what is the future of Sam Darnold look like right now as presently constituted? What does the future for Adam Gase look like? What does it look like as far as the GM? I mean, where do you go? You come out of yesterday's game, and you sit there and you go, they got a lot of work to do in the film room this week. They've got to work on tackling. They have to work on player execution. They have to work on player positioning. So the Jets really, really need to go to the drawing board as soon as possible, and they need to get back to us with a better performance, which I believe they will do, because I believe Darnold does have the talent to be good in the right situation. I'm not saying yet if the Jets are the right situation for him, but I do think he can develop into a very, very good NFL quarterback. And I like Frank Gore. I just wonder sometimes about the play calling and especially the lackluster defense in the first couple minutes of the games. Especially in football, you can't have a lack of momentum coming out of the locker room. The first 4 minutes and last 4 minutes are always huge for momentum. So I really question that. As far as the Giants, I don't know where you go from here. You were in all your games. Daniel Jones is developing very nicely, but how well will he develop without Saquon Barkley for the foreseeable future? Torn ACL there. He's got Sterling Shepard. He doesn't have the wide receiving core that he once did. He doesn't have Odell Beckham Jr. The Giants let him go. So who does he have that he can rely on that offense? We don't know yet because we have only had two weeks of football inside of us. So the Sunday night game yesterday was very entertaining. You had a little Cam Newton versus Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson just came out and on Sunday night showed the country and the world why he might just be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in America. 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers showed you a good amount of flexibility, able to throw to a lot of different receivers at different times. The disappointing part for the Seahawks last night was their defense. Usually they're known for a very good home defense. And again, I know there's no crowd. They usually have that crowd very loud, very hyped up, ready to go. But, the Seahawk defense, if you're in fantasy leagues, they gave you a -2 in some leagues. So, you really have to, consider that the fact that there is no crowd is playing a factor in what's going on. Of course, the Monday night game, a battle of 1-0 teams, the opening of a new era in the NFL as John Gruden will take on Drew Brees and the Saints in the Las Vegas home opener, the first football game in Las Vegas in a very long time. In fact, I think ever. So let's take a look at the MLB scoreboard that pertains to the playoff races. I won't give you the schedule of the teams that are just playing out the string. Of course, the Yankees play at 6:37, and they have not announced a starter yet. Then we have the Phillies throwing Zach Wheeler against the Nationals. That game is also at approximately 6 o'clock. The White Sox still going for the best record overall. They play at 6:10. The Brewers in an interesting predicament. They will take on the Reds. The Cubs needing to bounce back against the Pirates. And the Mets will host the Tampa Bay Rays with Jacob deGrom on the mound. And the Rays will open up with Pete Fairbanks to be determined who goes after him. St. Louis is in Kansas City. As we mentioned, finally Seattle's back home, thank goodness, and hopefully those people are safe and back to some level of normalcy as they will take on the Astros at 9:10 Eastern Time. And that is your relevant pennant chase scores. Let's take a look at the National League now. And, of course, dominating everything in the West and throughout baseball is Dave Roberts and his Los Angeles Dodgers, followed closely but not by the Chicago Cubs, who are just hanging out in second, and the Braves lead the East at 31-22. San Diego Padres clinched their first playoff spot in a long while yesterday. So congratulations to them. They are at 34-20. Miami Marlins, second place in the East. They might get in. They have to really, like I said, keep battling. And St. Louis is in there too. A lot of teams, will have chances here in this final week of baseball. But the big question is going to be, how do they produce? How do they produce three solid starting pitchers for the best 2 out of 3 series? They do this in a lot of sports, but you have to have 3 starters ready to go and ready, willing, and able to pitch. Your bullpen has to be behind them. How do you manage that going into this week? Do you chase your division? Do you chase home field? We're in a pandemic. This is 2020, so we don't know what managers are thinking, though it does have to be considered. And as I just am doing the show right here, yesterday in the NFL, the injuries continue to pile up, and the Giants have now made it official. Saquon Barkley is out for the remainder of the 2020 season, so we will not see him until at least September of 2021. There were so many injuries yesterday. I was listening on the radio shows this morning. So many injuries, so many happenings. Not enough to get to, but it shows you, all these athletes and all these sports having stopped and then started again, and then in some cases stopped. I mean, it really shows you how good, in terms of conditioning, how good their conditioning really is, or might I say needs to be. Of course, on the hockey slate, we have Dallas taking on Tampa Bay Lightning, so a lot of people out in Tampa will probably be double watching baseball and hockey. And Tampa needs to win in that series, in my estimation, to have any hope at the Stanley Cup. Dallas, of course, played really well on Saturday night, so you are going to really need to see what happens there. As far as basketball, if you haven't seen it already, I would go check it out. Anthony Davis, one of the best buzzer-beating shots I think I've ever seen since Dirk Nowitzki. I think I think this one, because of its importance, had more weight on it than the Cleveland-Orlando buzzer beater that LeBron hit from a few years ago when he was with Cleveland. This game last night had everything in it, and it was a crazy good finish. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at Anthony Davis's shot, I would really, really recommend you do take a look at the shot that he put together, because that ball, he knew it right away. He called it on the court. It was going in. That's what he said. So I will certainly keep everybody up to date on the baseball playoffs, on sports, etc., etc. You can certainly look on demand at any of my previous episodes. Certainly, there's no time limit on any of those being up there, so please listen as often as you like. Please share them with your friends. As far as this other project I'm working on, it's a Facebook page entitled Life and Sports by John Thompson, by John Lee Thompson, and well, I look forward to having you check that out. And my motivational tip for this week, as Herb Brooks once said, great moments are born from great opportunity. And a lot of things, I was out yesterday for the first time in a little while. A lot of things are changing around us, but it's how we accommodate those changes that are going to make us better in the future. It's how we come together that's going to make us more able to handle what's being thrown at us, be it adverse or positive. So I really would like to leave you guys with that. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope all of our students that are in person at various schools around the country are enjoying their first day, be it virtual or what have you. I hope our teachers are doing well. And just nice to see you guys again. And feel free to comment below, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.